PDPR mean there is no learning from home lah. So you just stay safe and then do whatever exercises that other teachers give you tomorrow and stay home lah. Okay. So also we do not have any class for science tomorrow. So we continue the class on Wednesday. Wednesday maybe at 11 in the morning. Right? Okay, that is number 1. Number 2, exercises on your workbook. Do you have any question in chapter 8? Chapter 8. So I ask you to do the question. Try to answer the question on page 100 and 101. If there is any problem about the question, the exercises, do you want to discuss the question or no? Page 100 and 101. I think it is pretty straightforward. It is a very easy question. What do you think, class? Do we need to discuss the answer or no? Page 100 and page 101, your workbook. I'm waiting for your reply. Or we just will continue to 8.2 topic for today or what?
Can discuss.
Can discuss all question or maybe some of the question.
Discuss to check the answer.
Just to check the answer on you. Okay, so if you want to discuss the answer, all right. So we will discuss the answer to check the answer. Yeah. So everybody, I hope you already open your workbook, page 100 to 101. We just go discuss the answer on the workbook, maybe just for 5 or 10 minutes lah. Yeah. Okay. Now, can you see my presentation? All right, we start at page 100. Yeah. Right, page 100 is the type of forces. All right, this is the type of forces. Okay, already give you the optional answer. So never mind. We just go through the first question for today. Page 100 class. All right. A, the activity is drop an eraser and allow it to fall freely. So, what is your observation? The eraser falls to the ground, and then what are the forces involved here is what we call a gravitational force or weight. Okay, you can either write gravitational force or weight in question A. Okay, question B. When you hold a book and feel the weight, you hold the book and feel the weight. Of course, what is your observation? The force is felt acting upward to hold the book. So this is what we call by the normal force. Normal force, a force is felt acting upwards to hold the book. We call it normal force. Upward, and then the force name is normal force. Okay. Question C. The activity is you try to push to move a book. Push to move a book. So what is your observation? When you stop pushing the book, and then of course the book will stop moving eventually. When you apply force, then the object, in this case the book, is moving when you apply the pressure. When you stop applying the pressure or you stop applying the force, so the book will stop. So what is the force involved here? It is a frictional force. Okay, C is frictional force. Okay, class. Now we go to the next question. What happens when you stretch a rubber band? When you stretch a rubber band, what will happen? What is your observation? The rubber band is, of course, stretched. Okay, you must try to differentiate or try to differentiate between stretch and compress. Compress when you push the what we call, especially in the spring. Spring you can stretch and you can compress, but rubber band, rubber band is you able to stretch it only. So what type of force here? We call it elastic force. For the what we call a stretch rubber band. Okay, next question is E. If you look at the picture here, you try to press a wooden block base of the beaker containing water and you let it go. Okay, you try to press it under the water and then you let it go. What will happen to the wooden block? A force is felt. A force is felt to move upward to float the wooden block in water. There is a force that you can feel pushing the wooden block upward. Huh? That is the name, the what we call the force that occur here. We call it a buoyant force. Buoyant force. Okay, it is got to do with the density as well. Because of the density is wood is less than the density of water, so the wood will float on the water. Okay, it got to do with density also. Later on, we take a look about the relation of density and buoyant force in 8.2. Okay, 8.2, later on, we try to learn about buoyant force and then the relation to density. Okay, right. So, next one, page 101. Question number 1A, gravitational force. 1B, frictional force. 1C, elastic force. 1D, normal force. And then 1E is the weight. I'm sorry, the last one, F, is the buoyant force. Okay, these are the explanation. Make sure you're able to identify what type of force based on its explanation. Okay, class? Can you get the answer? Do you already get the answer? Never mind. If you didn't get the answer, you can watch the video recording later. Okay? 1A, B, C, D, E, and F. All right? Next one. Question number 2. Complete the space about the action-reaction pair forces. All right. Okay. The answer. The gravitational force or weight. Okay. You can either choose either one of the answer here, whether it is gravitational force or weight. Okay. Gravitational force is action force X is equal to the normal force. This is what we call a reaction force Y. So the force are balanced and the object remain on the table, or we can say it is remain stationary. Remain stationary meaning that the object is not moving. Okay, when the action force, that is the gravitational force, is equal to the normal force, that is the reaction force on Y. Okay, okay, class? It is question number 2A, action and reaction. Right? Okay. And then question B, you can see here, boy here floating on the surface of the water. We have two force over here. We have one is gravitational force in X, and then the force that able to get the boy float on the water, we call it force Y. So force Y is used, of course, the buoyant force, and then the force X is what we call by the gravitational force, or you can write weight. Either one answer is correct, whether it is gravitational force or buoyant or weight. Okay, and then when the action force X and action force reaction force Y is equal, so you can see the buoy over here is not sinking at the bottom of the water. It will stay afloat because of the force between action and reaction is equal. Equal mean it doesn't what we call equal or balance, the balance, and then the object will float on the water, on the water, right? Okay. This is the action and reaction force. The example of action and reaction force. Okay, next one. What are the conclusion? Type of forces. Okay, how many? There are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gravitational force, weight, gravitational force number 1, and then we have weight, we have normal force number 3, we have frictional force, and then number 5 is elastic force, and then the last one is what we call by buoyant force. Okay, there are various types, not limited to 6 type of force, class. There are many other type of force, but in Form 2 you just remember the 6 type of forces. Gravitational, weight, normal, frictional, elastic, and buoyant. So this is the discussion, the question, the answer for page 100 to page 101 on your workbook. I'm open to question if you have any question.
No, thank you, teacher.
Okay, very good. Make sure you understand. And then, of course, if you have any question, you can ask me later on. All right? Okay. Okay, I think wait there. Okay. So can I start the new topic today? All right. So maybe I just take a little, not too much. Maybe maybe I will take about 20 minutes to finish this next topic here. All right. So the next topic is what we call by effects of force. There are so many subtopics in topic 8.2 class, but I will try to make it easier for you to understand. So 8.2, the effects of force. Okay. 8.1, you already identify the type of force, right? We have about 6 type of force. And then in 8.1 also, we already learned about the unit of force. What is the unit of force, class? Anybody? What's the unit? What is the unit?
Newton.
Yes, the unit of force, very good, is Newton. Okay. And then maybe we can measure the force by using spring balance. And then what we call the magnitude force? Force can be measured. It has magnitude and also it has direction. So in 8.2, what are the effects of force? Okay, dia punya kesan-kesan dia. What happen when there is too much force, for example? What happened to the object if we apply or we exert too much force? We apply too much force on an object. What happened to the object? Okay, this is what we're going to learn today. All right. So it said here, I will zoom it a bit. All right. So the effects of force, it said here that force cannot be seen, but the effects can be felt. You cannot see the force, but there is the effects. Okay? When the force acts on the object, the force can change the shape, the size, and the motion of the object. Like I said earlier, depending on how strong, how much force you apply to an object, it can change these 3 times. These 3 types. It can change shape, size, and motion. Okay. So never mind, I will skip the activity directly to the table over here on your textbook, page 176. Okay. Remember the effects of force? Number one, it can moving a stationary object. What is stationary, class? Stationary means the object is moving or not moving?
Not moving.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your reply. Stationary means the object is not moving. Okay, this is what we call by stationary. Okay, so what happened? For example, here we have a ball. We have a tennis ball over here. Okay, and then the tennis ball is not moving. Actually, the tennis ball is not moving. Yeah, it's sit on the table. It is not moving. So what happened? What happened here? Wait, epic. Just wait for a moment. I cannot draw the object over here. All right, give me one couple of seconds. I want to open the. Okay, right. Okay, effects number one, class. Remember, it can move a stationary object. For example, we have a stationary tennis ball object on the top of the table. When you push it, it will move. That's all. Situation number two, when you have a ball, you try to kick it. You kick the ball and then the ball will fly. Okay, this is when when you apply the force, it will move. Number one, very easy. Okay, number two, what happened? When you apply the force and the object, it will stop the object. Okay, number one, it will move the object. Number two, it will stop the object. Okay, when the force is applied in the opposite direction, the object will stop moving. Okay, I think this is very straightforward. This is very easy. And then number three, what are the effects? Number three, it can change the speed of the object. Okay, if you want to get the ball moving fast, so you need to apply more or less force.
More.
Yes, of course. Right. Very good. If you want to move the ball faster, you need to apply more force. Slower, if you want to move the ball slower, so you just apply a bit of the force. So effect number three, you can change the speed of the object that is in motion. Okay, a very easy one. You can see the example here, the situation here. Okay, and then number four is the changing the direction of the motion. Okay, you can change the direction of the moving object as you like. For example, here, force from the side change the direction of motion of an object. Okay, not just you stop the object, not just you able to move the object, not just you can change the speed, but also you can change the direction of the object when you apply appropriate force over here. Okay, and then the last one is you can change the shape and the size of the object. Usually, if you want to change the shape and size of the object, what happened? What type of force? Is it you need to exert the force much stronger, right? If you need to exert the force much stronger, then you can see the shape of the object you want to move or you want to change is become dented. Okay, it's become dented. All right. That's why we can say that when you apply the force, extreme force here, if you apply the extreme force, you can see the shape of the object become dented, become what we call maybe sometime the object will be destroyed because there is too much force. Too much force can destroy an object. Okay, that's why we call it. It can change the shape and it can change the size. Shape meaning maybe from the shape of a round shape become rectangle, for example, and then maybe the size, maybe from the big shape of the ball, it will become smaller. Okay, so this is the keyword over here, the effects of force. Make sure you remember there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 effects of force over here, depending on how much you apply the force. If you apply the force, what we call, if you apply the force weaker, slower, maybe you can see the the object is moving slower, or the object will move what we call a short distance only, right? If you apply the force stronger, or what we call the strength of the force is more, you can see the object can travel longer. You can see the object can travel faster. You can see the object is hard to stop. We can see the object changing, the shape become smaller or become bigger or become dented. Okay, can you understand this, the effects of force, class, before we
Yeah.
continue? Okay, yes, okay, very good. Okay, so this is the effects of force. There are many other example effects of force over here, but this is the basic one. You must remember the 5 effects of force, right? Okay, next one. So, buoyant force. We want to learn one of the type of force you already learned in 8.1 is buoyant force. Okay, what is buoyant force? Right. An object will float if the buoyant force acting on it is enough to support its weight. Okay, it will float when the buoyant force acting enough to support its weight. Okay, that is if the buoyant force is equal to the weight of the object. Right? For example, the rubber duck below has the weight of 10 Newton. The reaction force, which is the buoyant force, act on the same magnitude, 10 Newton, but in opposite direction. So this is what we call by buoyant force. If the weight of the weight or the gravitational force is same with the buoyant force at the opposite direction, so the object will float. Okay, but if the object, if the weight or the gravitational force of the object is more than buoyant force, so it will sink. Okay, can you understand this? Buoyant force is opposite. Meaning buoyant force is facing, or the direction of the buoyant force is upward. Okay, where the gravitational force or the weight will exert the force downward. Okay, if both force equal, so the object will float. Okay, if the gravitational force or the weight of the object is more than the buoyant force, the object will sink. All right, this is what we call a buoyant force. Yeah. All right. Conversely, the object will submerge. This I already explained to you just now. If the buoyant force acting is not enough to support its weight, the buoyant force is less than the weight of the object. So, the what we call the word equation for it is buoyant force is the actual weight is minus apparent weight. We need to do the experiment for this activity, but never mind, I will try to explain it to you. Okay, right. I will skip the experiment first. Later on, you will try to explain it to you, right? Okay, next one. The density and buoyant effects. That's why there is a relationship. Just as I said, like now there is what we call a relationship between density and buoyant effects. So now is 1, 8:30 in the afternoon, right? So never mind. I will skip this topic later on. We start with this topic at Wednesday. Is it okay, class? I don't want to talk too much online lah before because it will be your focus will be out already. Okay. So for density and buoyant effects, I will continue on Wednesday at 11 a.m. in the morning. Is it okay, class?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So today we just learned the effects of force only. All right. You just remember the 5 effects of force, and then later on we continue on Wednesday. The exercise I will give you on the Telegram group after the class. Yeah. So later on, if you have any question, of course you can ask me later on after the class, and I will give you the exercise later also. Okay. So thank you for your participation, and then for your cooperation and focus. We will meet you again on our online class on Wednesday. Okay, class? So stay safe, stay at home. Although we are already what we call or what we call try to live normally, but never mind. Okay, so you can leave the class right now. Thank you. See you on Wednesday. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you
Bye
very much.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you on Wednesday. Bye.